Not long to go until kickoff. The SPL will restart at 5:30 p.m. today, and a lot of hard work has gone into making this possible. And I possibly have the man who's been working the hardest of everyone. It is FAS General Secretary Yazeen Buhari in the house with me, Yazeen. And look, it's a relief. I have to say that football is back in Singapore. What kind of work did you have to go through in the past 6 months to make this possible?
I think it was no, Duncan. I think it's a roller coaster of an experience because I think at the initial stage or at the initial period of the pandemic, and we went into circuit breaker. Sport at that point in time, of football, was the last thing that we had in our minds. We wanted to ensure that the safety of our stakeholders, the safety of our colleagues, the general public, I think that was paramount at that point in time. But then we saw how the work was done by the government, how they handled the crisis. Of course, there were certain periods of that time when things were not really looking good. And the incredible work of the frontliners, I think that gave some confidence that perhaps we will be able to see sports back in whichever form. So it was a lot of engagements, a lot of discussion, but we never kind of put aside the key priority that we had in the fact that any plan that we want to put forward will have to be able to safeguard everyone involved. I think that was important. There were a lot of scenario plannings. We have just finished 13 games at the start of the league before we got suspended, or the league got suspended, and we had that whole backlog of matches that we needed to complete. So the scenario plannings were in what format do we play, in what kind of venues do we play, do we all just put all the games in one venue? But here we are, finally given the green light to be able to resume. We are excited. I don't think I've been this excited since the birth of my daughters. But yeah, so one day away from the resumption.
Yeah. Were you prepared to write off the season at all?
I've got to be honest, at that point in time, at the very early stages, we thought we may have to. And then as it took longer for us to be able to get some form of attraction in getting the resumption notice, we thought we would run out of days. We were in the month of September, or at that point in time, perhaps August. But when we did get the go-ahead to do full training, we saw hope. And we never gave up on that hope. And I think there was a lot of confidence by the authorities to know that we were in control of how we want to put things out. And of course, the safe management measures that we put in place, there were a lot of discussion that we had with the authorities as well, and it was approved.
Is it a testament to the hard work done by everyone involved in the FAS and in the SPL? Because a lot of other NSAs, they are still struggling in their groups of fives, but you've gone from groups of five to full training to competitive action just a matter of hours away. Does that instill some pride in you, like you've managed to make this happen?
Of course, my colleagues in FAS, Sports Singapore, of course the relevant ministries, I think we have all pulled together to see how best we can get this going. But it's football, and we are very much conscious that while the approval is given for football or SPL to continue, we now take the responsibility that for this to be able to go through without incidents, that will give the confidence for every other sport to be able to resume. And so we are very aware of it. Even when we did the manifest on match days, the number of people, it was shrunk to a size where it was bare minimum. Clubs may feel that they do not necessarily have that many people on board on match day to be able to do it, but they have taken it on the stride and they said, let's work this out. And I've got to admit that the way the clubs have also pulled themselves together, they walked this journey with us. It was not easy. A lot of adaptations that they needed to do, a lot of challenges. Motivation of the players was a concern as well. But this was truly, FAS has a motto of one strong, and this was truly a one strong initiative to come to where we are.
Let's talk about a little bit of the amendments that have been made to the laws of the game for this particular season. 5 substitutes per match. There will be water breaks. and also a change in the way it's going to be this season. There will be only 2 rounds and no Singapore Cup. So let's go one by one. The 5 substitutes and the water breaks, that's something that we've seen in the European leagues when they did have the restart. Is that something in a similar vein that you're thinking, yeah, the risk of injury and hydration, especially during this time, that's important for the players?
Absolutely. They have not seen competitive action for 7 months or nearly 7 months. While they may have trained or started training in full over a month ago, I think the condition of the body may not have been used to what they will experience from tomorrow. So we have the competitions committee as well as the medical committee coming together to look at all aspects, how to safeguard and prevent any form of injuries as much as we can without compromising what the competition is all about. So the 5 substitution addresses that, to be able to give more players the chance to get onto the pitch and get into the groove of things. Water breaks, very simply, is to prevent injuries, to be able to. And of course, the other reason is that when you do have dedicated water breaks like that, it's easy to be able to control that the players drink from their assigned bottles.
Yes.
As compared to during half-time or full-time only. So that's one. And then coming to the competition, as I said, we ran out of days to be able to complete 3 rounds, which we typically have in a season. But we decided we'll go down to 2 rounds to be able to finish the season. Unfortunately, the Singapore Cup is a massive competition. I know there are clubs who do have Cup journey as one of their key priorities as well. Obviously, it gives you passage into the regional tournaments in AFC. But that has to go. But AFC has also given the approval to be able to get the top team, local team in the league to go directly into the Champions League. And then the next 2 local team to gain directly into the group stages of the AFC Cup. So yeah, we don't have the cup. Cup, there's always the beauty of a cup competitions. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see this year. But we want to get over that line to get the season done. And of course, the cup will be back next year.
Fantastic. And it's going to be a busy 2021 coming up. And I know we're just looking at finishing off 2020 and with the whole season. But next year is going to be busy. And the reason why I'm asking is there's going to be the Suzuki Cup. There's going to be the backlog of Singapore national team World Cup qualifiers. And of course, the SEA Games is at the end of the year. How are you planning for 2021 for the SPL? Is it going to be a quick restart, maybe a matter of weeks, similar to what the English Premier League did at the end of the season? They had a quick break and then they started again the new season. Is that something that's in your mind?
Yeah, and don't forget we have the women's competitions and the amateur competitions as well. Yes, we did take that into consideration, and in fact we do have a few plans that we will put up as a proposal to the competitions committee. The SEA Games is an important tournament for us regionally as well. So that is going to be in November, and we are trying to see if we can fit everything before November at this point in time. Especially so because we have young lions playing in the league, and for them to be able to go away for training as well. At this point in time, we are aware travel restrictions. There have been players this year who have not gone back, especially the foreign players as well. And we take into account that there needs to be some form of a break for them to be able to recuperate, because the rigors of competitive football, which they will start to experience again tomorrow, it may take a toll on them after a layoff of nearly 7 months. So we do look at, we are still looking at when we will be able to kick off, taking into consideration all these parameters are observed. And of course, the Champions League starts in January as well, so we need to take that into consideration as well. So I would think it is a jam-packed calendar next year. It can be a nightmare just looking at what we have to organize, but we have to work around that.
Does seem like a logistical nightmare. No fans for the time being. No fans for the entire season.
This season, if you're asking, if I go back to how the league started, we started on a very good bang. We had fans coming through. You obviously had Tanjung Pagar coming back.
Yes.
And then we had Lion City Sailors, the new team on the block. And the first game was a draw between them. And then, of course, Lion City did not really get the groove going at the start. We had fans, and even when we went into the suspension, not really the closed-door games, we had over 1 million viewers online watching 13 games that we played behind closed doors. So unfortunately, this has come, but we are at a stage where this is the first phase to get the games going behind closed doors. We will obviously still have the broadcast on TV and on live streaming, and we do not want to compromise the quality of that. While the fans can't experience match experience while physically being in the stadium, we like to see if we can still give them that experience on broadcast. So that's phase one. We want to see how best that goes, and if there's any initiative to see if we can bring fans back, maybe in groups or in limited numbers, just so that we can understand what kind of flow is needed, what kind of operational plan is needed to make sure that there are segregated fans. We have seen that in other leagues, but obviously even those leagues went through a phase of closed door before they went down to a phase of having the fans.
I can feel like the fans just watching this, having some sliver of hope, like, oh, I might be able to watch an SPL game this season, but things must happen in the right direction for that to happen. I know you don't like to delve into too much gossip, but Warriors FC have been in the news recently. They have set out 2020, but they have submitted a bid to be back in 2021. What can you reveal about that?
Well, Warriors a decorated club. If you just look at the track record of what they have achieved, where they have played, the kind of competitions that they've qualified for, obviously, and personally, I'm pretty certain I can speak for the bosses back in FAS, that we want to see a club of that stature back. They were an important component of the whole ecosystem. And as they mentioned, yes, they've put in an official request to want to come in. And they were also very mindful of the fact that before any decision is made, there needs to be a lot of engagement, there needs to be assessment, for the very reason as to why they were asked to step aside to recuperate. So we are at the stage now where we are looking at that, assessing that. We will get to the table to speak with Warriors. Whether or not they'll be back next year, it is still undecided. We are still in discussion stage, and I don't think we are at anywhere in making a decision yet. It's still early days. But like I said, Warriors is a club that, not just me, I'm pretty sure a lot of fans and would want to see them back in the league.
Right, the focus is of course on the teams taking part in the rest of the season in 2020. Top two Eastern sides leading the way. Lion City Sailors, as you said, haven't found their groove yet. Hougang mid-table, Balestier in fourth. Do you have a tip? Do you have a gut feeling of how the season will go, especially in this very congested manner of finishing off games before the end of December?
I've read some of the media articles on how teams have been coping, and I did read one of the coaches who mentioned the team that adapts to competitive football at the earliest possible time will be up there, which is true. But we are also very mindful of the kind of injuries that may come along. We have seen that happen in other leagues, and the medical committee, the medical staff, and the club coaches are also fully aware of how much they push their players for this. But just as it was at the start of the season, I'm still very excited of the fact that we cannot predict what is going to happen, and I think that's how the SPL has evolved, and very happy to see that, and fans can enjoy it, and we are just excited. Like I said, we're excited that it is all coming back tomorrow. While the fans can't be there, but I'm pretty sure they'll be able to feel the excitement on broadcast as well.
Yeah, one of the more open seasons in memory. Really looking forward to the restart. Yazeen, thanks so much for joining us on the SPL show. Really whet the appetite now. Really excited for the games to start. And as the tagline goes, game on.